Now for the show that's truly too hot to handle. It's The Melting Pat, and it starts right now.
You're listening to The Melting Pat. Here's your host, Pat Johnson.
Well, thank you, Jerome. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the show, The Melting Pat, the Next Level Network. Today is a very special day. We have a guest, a filmmaker. His name is Ian Liberatore. We just had a conversation, and by just, I mean 5 minutes ago. We wrapped our conversation about all kinds of stuff, making movies and heavy stories and potential new projects coming down the line. Yeah, I suggested one, and I think it's going to go great if it ever gets made. So there we go. My thanks to my smoking hot wife, Jill, for the suggestion, and thanks to Maggie as well. I wouldn't know Ian if it wasn't for Maggie, so there we go. Yeah, Jill has been in 2 of Ian's projects, and Maggie has been in 3 or 4 at least, and they're going to be in the feature film, The Final Boy, which is coming out next year, which we did talk about. Hopefully coming out next year. So movingforwardfilms.com for more. And yeah, Ian's great. This was a really fun conversation, and I'm excited to share it with you in just a moment. But before we do that, come on out to the live show, September 14 at Constadter in Northeast Philadelphia. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your mom's friends that we want them to hang out with us. We're recording episode 500 of this show. Free to get in, free to park, food and drink available for purchase. Come on out, hang out with us. TheMeltingPat.com, the live show tab, has all the information that you need. And click on the thing to sign up and register your spot so I can give the venue a head count by tonight. All right? All right, thanks. Thank you very much. I meant to do 1 clap, and then I wanted to do more, and then it was just heavy clapping. So I'm sorry if that messed with your face somehow. But there you go. So, yeah, Ian Liberatore. He and I just had a conversation, and you can find more from him, movingforwardfilms.com. And, yeah, story LGBTQ stories, and he's done a couple of short films. He's done I almost said a sitcom. That's what we talked about. He's done a series. He's done some movies. It's been really good. I watched all of them this week in preparation for this conversation, and I think they served me well. I think I learned a lot. I think we both learned a lot, and we had a great time. Movingforwardfilms.com. And here, so that's more from him. TheMeltingPat.com. It's more from me. And now here's more of us. Me talking to Ian Liberatore. Enjoy. Man, that's always so awkward, isn't it? Isn't that weird? Right? We get a countdown to start recording, and then we just have to wait. So how are you, man? Welcome to the show. Thanks for doing this.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I'm glad we were able to do this.
Of course, man. So I watched, I've never had a filmmaker on the show before. So okay. I've never done so much work as to watch 4 movies in 1 week to prepare for an interview. So.
Oh, God, you watched all my movies?
I did. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Well, actually, yeah, maybe you should apologize. Some of this stuff was rough, man. Some of this was rough. You can't have me feeling things at work. Come on.
I was told to stop making people cry with my next movie.
How dare you? How dare you make me recognize my emotions? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
There's a lot wrong with me. There's a lot. That's what I'm told by my in-laws every single time I release a movie. What is wrong with you? Who hurt you?
So your in-laws don't like your movies. That's great. That's good to know. And so no, I because we watched most of Finding You because my wife Jill was an extra and my friend Maggie was the secretary in Finding You, right? Yes. Is that what she did? I can't remember.
Yeah, she was the coworker / best friend of one of the characters. She was, I think she was in a total of 5 or 6 episodes, and then your wife was an extra in episode 7.
Correct, and she's going to be an extra in
Final Boy.
Final Boy, yes. Which so is let me just start there real quick. Is that part 3 of the Revelations of Gavin Gray and Redemption of Ricky? Is that a part 3 of that story?
Nope. Final Boy is its own full-length movie. It's my first movie since 2020.
Okay.
The third part in the Gray series is Reclamation of Alice and Olivia Gray, which I kind of shot secretly. Like, it wasn't a big secret, but I didn't announce it because I didn't want to get it confused with The Final Boy.
Okay.
That's actually what I was doing right before this, was I was editing Reclamation of Alice and Olivia Gray.
So there is a part 3.
There is a part 3. It was filmed in June, and we should be done post-production by next week.
Wow. Exclusive right here. Announced.
Yes,
there we
yes.
go. Love it. Oh, man, that's good. So those are the first 2 that I watched. Well, we watched most of Finding You, a year or 2 ago, whenever it came out, whenever we got the DVDs. And then our kid started making noise, and he doesn't let us watch TV anymore. So we have maybe 3 episodes left. So sorry. That's the one thing I didn't finish. But yeah, so I watched 4 of your movies this week. And I started with the Revelations of Gavin Gray. And I as a straight guy, it probably wasn't supposed to be funny. Like the reveal of like, wow, everyone in this universe is gay and the straight people are afraid of coming out. I cackled. Like, they were talking on the bed and they're like, you ever wish you were normal and, not straight? I cackled. And like, maybe I'm not supposed to, but it's just so like, it's so absurd. Like, why should we have this conversation, right? It
was a head turner because nobody, unless you were involved in the film, knew what it was about. They all thought, oh, Gavin must be gay, and that's what the secret is. Well, no, Gavin's straight in a world full of gay people. So everybody was completely shocked. Like, the theater was kind of like went up, like, what? So that was a great moment in the theater to watch that, because that's exactly what I wanted. Now, when I wrote it, I did not imagine it as a comedy, but I had other people like read it to like double check my work. And again, some of the first people that were attached to the cast and crew, they had said the same thing. They're like, this is kind of like a dark comedy or even a satire. And I'm like, I see it now. I do. Like, I didn't intend for that, but I'm glad it kind of came off that way.
It seems like a lot of your stuff is heavier. It's got some light elements for sure, but for the most part, like, you're making me feel feelings here, dude. And I, look, like I said, as a straight guy, that's not okay. I'm not allowed to have that. I'm not allowed
not at all.
to feel feelings. You have to, come on, man. Come
it's
on.
a secret between you and I promise.
Well, thanks, man. I won't tell anybody. Great. Yeah. Because Jesus. But the Revelations, the 2 movies, now we're getting a third. I'm very excited because we ended on a cliffhanger. So I was hoping that, I don't know, the money wouldn't run out or the drive would be gone. And you wouldn't be like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to leave it.
It's when I did part 2, I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, I have to do a part 3. I actually even contemplated with a part 4, and I even talked to some people about it. But I think between doing part 3 and then doing Final Boy, I think I need to step away, at least for a little bit. Maybe I might come back to it. But part 3 ends the Gray family. So there are other characters I can do in this world. I would love to expand on the world, but I do, for now, want to step away after part 3 because I don't want to make it just to make it. I want to make it because there's something I want to tell. So,
all right, you heard it here first, everybody. In part 3, everyone gets murdered. So that's good. The end of the Gray family, they're all going to be obliterated. So I'm looking forward to the expensive explosion shots you paid for to do that. So very excited now. No, I don't know that they're going to be murdered, everybody. I don't have an inside scoop. I don't have a script. But if you do now, though, like if someone actually does get, killed in an explosion, then you're welcome for spoiling it. Yeah.
Just don't bring up that comes down.
Yeah, of course. No. Yeah, we'll cut that part out. No problem. Also, yeah, I was watching. I was going to ask you specific questions about the movies. And then I was like, do I really want to do that? But I have one.
Sure.
Or pointing out a specific thing. So Redemption of Ricky Gray. Ricky is walking through the halls at a school and everybody's like whispering, oh, is that the Stray Kids brother? You think it's contagious? It felt like a horror movie. Like the foreboding music, like the zooming in on the people's faces. He's like looking around like, I don't know, guys. And I loved it. Like, that was such a great scene. I'm like, this guy's legitimately scared that something's going to happen because his brother's straight in the gay world. And I'm like, what? Who? Okay. Did you make the scene with that in mind, or did that just happen?
I wanted to be very dark and depressing. I wanted, in a way, and I'm sorry if this comes off offensive, I wanted straight people to feel what I felt when I came out in school and I was being teased and people were making comments and staring at me.
Wait, you're gay? Could you imagine someone didn't know? Or like, say someone caught your movie in the middle and go, huh, this guy likes making gay characters. I wonder what that's about.
I do an open review every time I release a movie, saying, "Oh, please review my movie. Like, if you have an opinion, I would love to hear it. But I mean, it's got to be like a legit. Don't just say it sucked. If it sucked, tell me why."
Right.
And I think one of the questionnaires is like, "What would you like to see next?" And someone actually put something without gay characters. I'm like, "Well, it's kind of what my company does." Because when I started the company in 2017. At the time, we didn't have a lot of gay characters, a lot of gay movies. Now, yes, I do feel like we are better, but I still want to kind of continue and maybe doing some different genres that we don't normally see, which is why Final Boy horror movie, we don't really have a lot of gay horror, so I wanted to try that now. But yeah, those are some of the comments I sometimes get.
Gay horror sounds like a great genre for movies, by the way. Gay horror just sounds like, all right. And you're like, you kind of, with a couple of these, you kind of made your way into that space already, right? With an American Hate Crime can kind of be classified that sort of.
All American Boy had some good horror elements.
I was going to get that. Yeah, that was a lot of like, whoa, this is. I watched it while working, so I'm like, man, you can't have me feeling things while I'm doing work. Yet it's not. Again, straight people can't have feelings, Ian. You have to understand this. Come on.
Sorry, in a dark theater, no one can see it. It's all right.
I guess that's true, and I guess nobody's here in the room with me, so. It's fine. The feelings are not in the room. Yeah, it's great. It's great. But yeah, it was, man, like All American Boy was a lot because it's like, oh, viewer discretion advised. Man, you were not wrong. You did not lie when you said viewer discretion should be advised. Because I'm just like, wow, it's like that's like heavy stuff, man. And I mean in a good way, like because the material is heavy. It's just how it goes, right? So I think. Leaning into it sounds like you're pandering, but diving in head first with the full effect of things, like, yes, this stuff's going to get heavy, be ready for it, and then it comes out the other side. I'm like, yeah, it was great, but also, yeah, you were not wrong. That's some heavy stuff. Stop making me feel things. Stop it.
With Final Boy, I hope maybe you won't feel that. Maybe that's what I call a popcorn movie, so it should just be entertaining.
Okay. All right. I was told from two extras in the film that I'm going to, it's going to get heavy at the scene that they're in. So no spoilers to anybody else.
But the one scene they were in is a little emotional, but I don't think it's, I think it was made emotional because the actress was so good. But the scene wasn't intended to be super emotional. It was just more intended to be, this is what's going on. But I think the actress did so good that that's what kind of got the emotions out. Also, everybody who was an extra had to listen to it about 5 or 6 times. So,
okay, yeah. She's come home with stories of like, this is what we did on this day, and I did this and that. I'm like, this is like a world I've never been in, and like hearing the stories from the inside of it's like, wow, like how much work and how much passion you have for what you're doing. Like that shines through in what she was doing for 1 or 2 days as an extra from what she told me. So kudos to you on that.
I forgot. Yeah, she was there on day 4 as well. I forgot she was there for both days. So, but yeah, no, I'm glad she was there. She was very helpful and very easy to manage. And if I was like, oh, we're going to have you sit here. Now we're going to change. We're going to have you sit over here. And then she was all on board for it.
Very easy to manage. Wow, she is a good actor. Wow. She's not going to listen to this, so it doesn't matter. I can say whatever I want. No, she might. She listens when I have a guest because she hears me talk all day long, which is, you know what? Honestly, that's fair. That's fair. That makes sense. I do like though. One thing I wanted to tell you, I guess as a review of all of your movies, is I love that you don't sugarcoat it. Like you don't. It like nothing is kind of walked around for the sake of conserving someone's feelings, let's say. The language is coarse, the violence is the violence is rough, Jesus. So is that by design, or did you, when you had the ideas to make the movies, did it just kind of flesh out as, okay, we have to do it fully this way, or it's going to kind of mess the message of the movie?
It's partly if you're going to do it, go big or go home. With certain things, there were certain things I did try to tiptoe around. But there was a lot of the things, especially some of the jaw-dropping parts. I'm like, no, it's either go big, go home. You do it right, or you don't do it at all. Like this is the moneymaker shot, or this is the big scene, so it has to be done right. This is the scene that people are going to always remember. So it's like I want to make sure it stays in their mind. I want to make sure they talk about it afterwards. Now, yes, there are certain things that I usually try to stay clear of. Like, for example, I try to stay away from religion and politics in the film, just because I'm trying not to turn people off with it. Every now and then it does get mentioned because it's something to the plot. But when it comes to, I would say, the violence or the shock factor, I'm not afraid to go with it as much as I possibly can.
You don't say. You don't say. And I do like that you kind of avoid religion and politics, because you know that certain people who are, let's see, feel strongly about those things may look at it and see like one little scene or one little quip, like you make a joke about, whoever, and somebody's going to write off the whole thing or write off your company as a whole. It's like, oh, these guys just do, they make fun of my political guy or whatever. So it's good that you understand that you can't, you're not going to win everybody, right? But you also don't want to consciously turn them away, like you said.
Yeah, I try not to. Now, with Finding You, which is 75% based off my husband and I and how we met and how we started dating, in episode 6, there was one little sentence of a political thing that was brought up. And I would say one friend of mine, him and I actually kind of got into, I wouldn't say a fight, but it was like a little banter back and forth. And that kind of just reminded me, it's like, this is why I don't usually put politics in my stuff. So just one sentence was enough to get my friend upset, and we had to talk. And we're good now, but it lasted like a few months, our little banter back and forth.
Wow, so, from one little sentence.
One sentence in episode 6 of Finding You.
Huh.
But again, it was one of those things where I said, I'm like, it's based off a true story. So
it says a lot more about the viewer than it does about the creator, though.
It can be, I will say, it can always be a bit of both. But
okay.
Yes, I think more so the viewer than the creator, yes.
Like, yeah, if one sentence kind of tips you off to go back and forth for months, that's maybe time to do some introspection in there, right? Think about why that makes you feel. No. Wait, never mind. Never mind. I don't know the person. We're going to let it go. So, awkward transition. Let's do this. Lots of tragedy in these movies, man. Like, lots of heavy stuff. We've talked about it. Lots of heavy stuff going on. A lot of bad things happen to people in your work. So, from experience for me, I've written some music, and it's easier to write sad songs. So, is that true with movies and TV, or are you pulling from real things that happen to you or people you know? A little bit of both?
It's a bit of both. To me, darker stuff comes more easy. My husband has been begging me to do a romantic comedy, and I'm like, that's just not my thing. Like, I think comedy is the hardest thing to write.
I'd be down, for the record. If you did a rom-com, I'd be down.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, here's some ideas for a romantic comedy, but then at the end I keep doing some sort of twist where it turns dark. I'm like, no, I had to stay away from that. So I think dark stuff comes to me more. Don't get me wrong, I love rom-coms. I love comedies. I just think they're harder to do than other things. But also there are stories I want to tell, like American Hate Crime. I think there was a movie called Hate Crime. Not quite the same story, but it did deal with someone who went through a hate crime, but the rest of the plot was completely different. And I just felt like it was something that I wanted to tell. It was actually a news article that I read that made me think of it. And I wrote the first draft of An American Hate Crime in like 4 days. That's how I can tell when a movie is going to be good in my mind, is if I can write it out really fast. All American Boy took me a week. Final Boy, I think, took me only like a week to write. Gavin Gray, I think I wrote in a day. So if I don't get stuck, I can write it fully fledged, like the first draft, in a very quick time, and I know it's going to be good. All American Boy was some personal experience. Finding You obviously was, like, again, about 75 personal experience. We had to change some things in Finding You just to protect certain people, and it was also to make it something that was filmable, because obviously we couldn't really do the whole 10 months. So we were trying to limit locations, and some locations we lost because we only filmed one episode at a time. And then I would say Gavin Gray and Ricky Gray were mostly, again, inspired by coming out, but roles reversed. So
Yeah, and that again, it wasn't supposed to be funny, but as a straight guy, it made me laugh because, like, when they're arguing against heterosexuality, it's like, yeah, this is how dumb you sound when you're arguing against gay marriages. Of like, this is how absurd you sound, and I hope that somebody has seen one of these who is like, oh, gay people are blah, or whatever they say. They sound stupid. I hope one person saw it and said, wow, we do sound stupid. We should probably rethink this. Have you gotten any feedback in that regard?
I've gotten a lot of feedback. If you go on YouTube, you can see a lot of comments. I'm gonna say 90% of them are very positive. Either hey, this is funny seeing it from that perspective. Hey, this kind of made me think, or hey, this encouraged me to come out, or it's great to see this. Then you have the occasional, like, someone actually interpreted it as the world now, everybody's turning gay, and this is our agenda. And someone actually put that as like, if we don't stop the liberals now, this is what our world's going to be in a few years. Not quote for quote or like word for word, but they mentioned something like, if we don't stop it, this is what our world's going to be soon.
Oh my God.
So there are a few of those comments. I leave those up there for people to bash them back. So
that's the real Project 2025. It's the gay agenda. That's really what it is. Yeah. Yeah. You people are taking over. I'll cut this out. Don't worry. I'm cutting a lot out here. I'm spoiling all of your work. It's not working out well.
if I didn't want to say it, I wouldn't say it.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So there you go. Push the gay agenda 2025. Yeah. You know what? That actually might be more fun. You know, straight people are boring, man. We're boring. You I almost said you people got it going on over there. Let me tell you.
No. I've always found straight people have got more secrets sometimes. So I always find them more interesting when you get deep down.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We're not doing a therapy session about me, but I appreciate the little pride. That's good. That's good. No, this is good. I don't have 3 hours to do this, so.
That's all right.
Nor do I have $500 to pay you. You're the celebrity
here. Your wife did the movie for free, so at least I can do.
Yeah. Oh well, good. That's a good trade-off, I guess. I mean, hey, you had to deal with her for a couple days, so I think we're all okay. Yeah. You mentioned that you've written a couple things quickly, like you wrote a short film in a day, which seems insane to me as someone who struggles to finish songs. Can you walk me through the writing process from like a scene idea to a movie? Because again, I've written songs, so I've gotten a little melody fleshed out to a full song, but like making an entire world basically feels way harder to do than writing a 3-minute song.
So my old job and my new job, my drive to work is about 45 minutes to an hour. So an hour there, hour back. I got a lot of time to sit in the car. And I think a lot, and I'll have dozens or hundreds of ideas just kind of flow through my brain. But when one kind of clicks, where it's just like, this is a good beginning, this is what I want to happen in the middle, and this is a good end, I sit there and think, all right, now it's time to start flushing this out. So I'll write down characters, descriptions, kind of key points. Like, we have to eventually get here, we have to eventually get here, we have to eventually get here. Then I'll do a rough draft. Now, usually the rough draft, I type so fast, I make spelling mistakes, I make grammar mistakes. Sometimes I duplicate things. Like, I just write it so fast, I'm not paying attention. Then the second draft, I go through and I kind of flush it out. It's like, all right, I fix my grammar, I fix my spelling. If a scene doesn't make sense, then I'll kind of maybe fix that. I might add something, take something away, but you know what, this isn't really necessary. And then the third draft, I usually have someone look over it, maybe one or two people look over it. And I'm like, does this make sense? Because in my mind it makes sense, but on paper it doesn't make sense to somebody else. The first draft, again, if I know a project's going to work out, my first draft is done rather quickly. Second draft could take me a little bit because, again, I'm trying to fix it and flush it out. And then the third draft, it all depends on whoever is reviewing it. Sometimes you get it done in a day. Sometimes it takes them a couple days. But that's primarily it. I've had scripts where I'm writing where I get stuck on page like 50. And it happens a lot where I have this great beginning and I'm in the middle and I'm stuck. But I'm like, I know eventually I have to get here, but I can't get there. And I get stuck. Like Final Boy was actually an alternate version of a script that I tried writing for 2 years. And I just kept getting stuck on page between 50 and 60, and I just wasn't liking it. And I had these other ideas. I'm like, well, I can't, because they were too similar. So I'm like, I can only do one or the other. I can't do both. So I'm like, let me go do this other one, which is now What's the Final Boy. Again, first draft written 6, maybe 7 days. So.
And now it's a full movie that's been shot, and you are done shooting, right?
Yeah, except for some like exterior shots, what we call B-roll, like something that doesn't have actors in it. Yes, I'm going to say it's about 99% shot.
Okay. So 7 days to write the draft. And then
The
all of a
first draft,
sudden,
yes.
first draft, yeah. And then all of a sudden, however many months later, it's a full, like it's a thing. That's insane. And congratulations, because it's a lot of stuff. And you're being able to get all that done while also working, I don't want to say a real job, but like making movies isn't your primary job, right? So
No, it's an expensive hobby.
Yeah, doing all that. So is podcasting at some times. Doing all of that on top of other responsibilities, let's say, like the fact that you can even flesh out these ideas at all, and then on top of the other things is incredible. So again, kudos to you. If I wore a hat, it would be tipped in your direction, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But also stop making me feel things. You have to stop making me have feelings, because I'm not allowed.
I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how you know you reached an audience is by if they laugh, they cry, they scream, they jump. So,
are there jump scares in Final Boy?
Yes, there are.
Okay, that's good to know, because I am very jumpy, so that's good to know.
There's a few jump scares and a few kind of like psychological builder moments, if I should say.
Okay, that's good. So my wife will be able to make fun of me when I jump because I'm very jumpy. Okay, that's good to know. It's good to know. But also, how dare you? How could you? How could you do this to me? But no, yeah, rom-com, I'm down. If you want to do a sitcom, that'd be great. Come on, man, gay sitcom. Come on, it's right there.
It's like Finding You is great when I did 10 episodes. If I were to do Finding You again, like something like that, I would probably film it all at once and not one episode at a time, because that time it was harder to bring actors back. So it was always relying on their schedules versus if I already pre-planned this big thing. Also, I lost locations. So yeah, I had to keep explaining, why are we in this house now? Why are we in this house now? Because I kept losing locations. So I would probably do it all at once next time around. I know I've had some people request a season 2 of Finding You. So it's a possibility for the future.
Oh, man, you should. I'm just going to prod you in that direction. You should do that. You should do a rom-com and you should do a sitcom. And you should, Finding You season 2 should just be slapstick, funny, pratfalls, sitcom-y stuff. Yeah.
I feel like if I'm going to go sitcom, I should just go with a whole new story. Since Finding You is technically somewhat based off my life, and my life is not a joke or not funny at all, I think maybe I'll just go with a whole new story if I do the rom-com.
Yeah, based on these movies, you're not very funny. This is, come on, man. Get it together.
I think Finding You had a few funny moments.
Is it?
A few. So.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I cackled when they said, could you, have you ever thought about being, not straight? I'm like, oh my God. Oh, we're doing this. I'm like, yes, this is perfect. And I need to show everyone this. Because like, it's just so absurd. I'm like, this is great. And then the next 3 things I watched of yours, nothing made me laugh like that. So I'm like, Ian, what are you doing? Can we go back to the funny? Can we do?
I always tell people, if you're going to watch my stuff, start from the beginning. Because again, like American Hate Crime was my first one. I'm proud of it. But you can see my quality is not where it is today. So I like you can see my quality get better. Especially with Finding You, it got really good. And then I think doing Gavin and Ricky made me realize I can go back to trying a full-length film again. Out of all my projects, I'm going to say Gavin is probably my favorite, not just because of the story, but just because how well production went, how it felt good. I usually run into a lot of problems when filming, but Gavin, we didn't have any problems. One big thing was, like when I shot Finding You and All American Boy and American Hate Crime, doing stuff outdoors is a pain in the butt. Doing something like night or day is a pain in the butt. Moving from location to location was a pain in the butt. Gavin Gray was all indoors, all like at one time frame, all at one house. So it was just so much easier to film. It went great.
See, sitcom. Telling you, sitcom. Do it at one place.
I could. I gotta work that out. I gotta finish editing Final Boy, and then I'm going to start fleshing out my next one. It's either going to be, I keep telling people, it's either going to be the rom-com, like Red, White, and Royal Blue, or it's going to be dark and twisted like Saltburn. It's going to be one or the other.
Okay. All right. An American love story. How about that?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah. An American love crime. How about love crime? Instead of American hate crime, American love crime. You could do both. Yeah. Twist it at the end. Have a fun, like, hey, it's campy. And all of a sudden, somebody gets murdered for some reason.
And then people are going to be like, yep, that's an Ian movie. That sounds like me.
Yeah. That's great. All right. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad now we got your next project ready to go. This is great. I'm very excited. All right. So you're still editing Final Boy. So no potential release date, I'm guessing?
I actually have not started editing Final Boy because I'm finishing Reclamation right now.
Sorry.
That's actually, that's what I was doing. But I should start Final Boy probably by next week.
Okay.
The process is I'm going to be cutting the movie until the end of December. January, I send it off to the composer. Then from the composer, it goes to the sound editor because sound is always kind of like my weakness. So I want to make sure someone does good with that. Then it will go to a color grader that will kind of like touch up the film and make it look a little bit more cinematic. Hopefully that should be done by about June-ish. I'm planning on a September, October release is what my goal is. So the movie should be done by June, but I want to give myself a little wiggle room in case if problems pop up or something like that. But we're expecting September, October of next year.
Okay. Wonderful. I mixed it. You have so many projects. I mixed them up. Sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, man, that's all right. So about a year from now.
Reclamation will be released October 26th, whatever that Saturday is. I think it's October 26th or 27th. 26th, I think.
Hell yeah. Let's do that. I think Maggie might have texted me about that, now that I think of it. She texted me about something.
She is in that one. She finally got a role, so she got a role in that one.
She texted me about something, and I'm like, yes, we'll go to the thing. Whatever it is, I'm going to it. I don't know what it is, but we're going to go. Yeah, why not? You know what? Now I do want to ask you about having all the different people work on the movie. So are those people like the sound editor, the color grader, the composer, all this stuff, are those people or did you like find them other places? How did you come to get this like team together to do this work?
So those particular people that you were talking about, sound editor and the colorist, there are people that either found me on IMDb and offered services, or I reached out to them, or I did like a kind of like a public posting saying, hey, I'm looking for this. And then I'll have a bunch of people from that work in that industry will apply to me saying, hey, I work here. I've done this. Here's my reel. Here's my IMDb page. Look at my work. If you're interested, we can talk. So I found two sound editors that both do great work and both have like the same price range. So when it comes to time, I'll see which one's available. Colorist, I'm still looking for one right now. There's one I'm talking to, but I haven't decided on one yet. Now, when it comes down to my crew members that are actually on set with me every day, my God, because I've gone through some crew members. So like nobody from American Hate Crime am I still in touch with. All American Boy, I think I've changed over. I know I got my sound guy from, I think, Philly.org, which was a Philly film organization. Through him, I met my first assistant director, who's been with me ever since Gavin Gray. She's awesome. Her name's Demi. Through connections, I met Mary, who is my sound person now, and then she brought on her friend Miranda. So they're my two sound people that I've worked with for 3 projects now. Demi, I've worked with on 4 projects. I have a friend, Kevin, who I met through the same guy who introduced me to Demi. He was my camera person for a couple projects. I wound up filming Final Boy myself to A, save money, and B, I find I'm very particular with my shot, so it's easier. Instead of me just saying, I want you to shoot it this way no matter what, it's just easier if I just shoot it myself. So
you wear many hats.
I do, yes. Writer, producer, director, editor, and cinematographer.
And then also, you just pick up the camera yourself and say, hey, we're going to do this way. And that's got to be a tough thing, right? Because you can have the idea and try to trust someone else to shoot it the way you want. But at the end of the day, you're the one who knows what it should look like, what the idea should look like in real life. The only one who really knows that is you.
It's one of those things where like I enjoy having a cinematographer on set because I like seeing their interpretation. Because sometimes they have good ideas, and like when he shot Gavin, there was a lot of good ideas. But with this one, I guess I was just too particular because this movie was very important to me. Because I feel like if this movie kind of flops or doesn't do well, this is my last attempt at a full-length film. because I can't do any more crowdfunding. I've drained my friends and family dry of money, so I can't ask for any more money again. So unless this movie does decently at film festivals or gets some more investors, then this is potentially my last full length film. So this movie was important to me, and I being director and cinematographer was hard. I wish I had somebody else. I had Demi, who was my first AD. She did a great job, but I feel like if I'm a cinematographer, I'm not directing then, and I'm missing things. So I kind of would like to try next time, make sure I have the money to do a cinematographer, and because I always say before, hey, we'll shoot my stuff, we'll shoot your stuff, and we'll see what looks best in editing.
Yeah, so when you do the sitcom, you'll have separate people to do the jobs. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because we want the sitcom to really take off. That's going to be the one. The sitcom goes well, then you make another full length because you'll have the money and the reputation there. There you go. See?
And that was the one thing about Finding You, the first 3 episodes, I funded myself, a little bit of crowdfunding, but I released them one episode at a time on Amazon, and I built an audience. And I think the last 3 or 4 episodes were all funded by people that started watching the show. They're like, I want the show to continue. Here's $20, here's $100. I had one guy came on, I think he fully funded the last 2 episodes completely by himself. So it was great doing all that networking.
That's amazing. One guy just said, hey, I like this enough. Here's a bunch of money. Make more.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, literally, I'm just hey, I'm trying to do episodes 7, 8, 9, 10. He originally gave me money that covered, I think because I shot 7, 8, and 9 back to back, he gave me enough money that would pretty much it equated to what it cost for one episode. And then when it came to episode 10, the last episode, he gave me a very, very generous amount of money. Just said, here you go. He actually even came out and watched us film it. I think it covered about 90% of the last episode.
Wow. Hats off to that guy. See, you're doing something right. If someone just finds the show, you're doing something right. If they find it and go, you know what? I want more. I have money. Here you go.
Yep. No, that means I'm doing a good job, and I appreciate it. And I love seeing the reviews on Amazon and mostly on YouTube, because YouTube I get more reviews. I just like seeing all the comments, what people say, and how it reflects on them. Yes, you get the occasional hater once in a while, but I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, they're usually a very positive review. So I enjoy that.
And I like that you said, some of the comments are, this inspired me to come out. And that really kind of hammers home that representation is important, and accurate representation is important. That's why, going back to what I said, where the language is coarse and the things are, might make some people uncomfortable, but this is kind of how it goes. And if, like you said, go big or go home, if you don't do the story in an accurate way, it's disingenuous to those people who are like, wow, I enjoy this, but it's a little, whatever. So having an accurate story told for people to say, you know what, this is the right thing for me to do as well. So again, I'm just propping you up here, man. Kudos to you for doing the thing, because doing it the way you're doing it is, again, me who's not allowed to have feelings. You're making me feel things, and again, stop it, knock it off. But for people who are allowed to have feelings, it's great for them.
See, now every time I make a story or a script or a movie, now I'm gonna think about you every time I put something emotional in there. Like, nope, this is for him. This is for him.
Thanks, man. Thanks. You don't have to put me in the credits. You don't even have to write that down. I'll know, and that's all that matters. I have one more question. Well, sure. I have a bonus. We'll do that in a second. But Did you start making movies just so you could put yourself in them?
No, it is not. I actually hate being on camera. Oh. I do. So if you saw All American Boy, I don't know if you saw the scene where I was a cop.
Yeah.
So I actually had dialogue. It was so bad, I cut the dialogue and I just put music over it.
No, release the dialogue.
No.
Put that back in there.
I think do you know what? I have to go back and check. I might have it with a deleted scene. But no, it was so bad. The other cop was actually my camera guy. So we both wanted to do a little cameo. And I thought I sounded horrible. He kept messing up his lines. So I said, well, screw that. I'm just going to do music over it. So, but I am a huge fan of Alfred Hitchcock, and Alfred Hitchcock puts himself in movies all the time. So I wanted to put myself in there. And usually if there's ever a scene where an extra is needed, all right, I'll throw myself in. And a lot of times I'll throw my husband in there as well. Hey, I need you today. I need another body. So I do it to honor Hitchcock and also Shyamalan. Shyamalan does that as well. I'm a huge Shyamalan fan. So just throwing myself in there, whether it's a little tiny part. I now, if I'm on screen, I don't give myself dialogue. But with Gavin Gray and Final Boy, you'll hear my voice, but you don't see my face.
Okay. All right. So you're fine with your dialogue if no one can see you say it.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yes.
So it's like you're doing a podcast in a movie. This is great.
Almost. Yes.
That's great. All right. So, so you're narcissistic. You put yourself in movies to make yourself feel better. Yeah. Yeah. Love it. You make straight people feel things when they're not allowed to feel things. And, and now you're going to be doing a sitcom. This is great. We've learned a lot today.
Yes. I learned a lot. Apparently I'm doing a sitcom. I didn't know I was doing a sitcom. Now I know.
Yeah. It makes sense. Horror movie and then sitcom. You have to, you have to follow the order of things. This is great.
I want the trailer to be like, where, all right, attractive guy and then the hot neighbor, they look at each other and it says, from the director of The Final Boy.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And maybe one with, not so many gay characters, right? According to that guy on YouTube.
Yeah,
right?
I need to get rid of those characters, apparently.
Yeah, get the straights in there.
Yeah.
We don't have enough on TV, Ian.
Well, the funny thing is, so my first movie, the main character was straight. And technically, Gavin Gray, main character, was straight. And I'll be honest, I did not actually have my first gay kiss until Finding You. So it took 2 full-length movies and halfway through a web series before we finally had a same-sex kiss.
Wow.
So, but I will tell you, for all the straight people out there who might be interested in this, Reclamation of Alice and Olivia Gray, we will have our very first female and female kiss.
Hey, there we go.
So yeah.
I'm sure someone has that reaction somewhere hearing that news. Yeah. All right. Finally, you're finally listening to the people who are important.
Yes.
Me. Great.
The audience. You are important. Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic. Love it. So Final Boy coming next year. You've said it 3 times and I already forgot the title of the third part of the Gavin Gray series. Reclamation, you said?
Reclamation of Alice and Olivia Gray.
All right. So I remember the first part, the important part, Reclamation. All right. Yes. Confessions, whatever the second one was.
It was Revelations, Redemption, Reclamation.
Right. All right. Redemption. Okay. I wrote them all down and I still forgot.
It's all right.
I'm too dumb for this, Ian.
I didn't know what the hell Reclamation even meant until I looked it up because I was trying to find another R word that began with R and ended with N, just like the first 2. And I went through every single word and I was like, what is this word? Oh, okay, that kind of fits what I want. So
now I needed a little montage of you flipping through the dictionary, looking through the R's to find a word to title this movie. All right, so when we're done here, we'll finish your real work and then shoot a scene of you flipping through Webster's and put that in somewhere. Put that in the end of Reclamation. That's gonna be great.
No, I shot an end credit scene for Reclamation that would do for a part 4, but it's also now I think the more and more I think about it, the more and more like I don't think I'm going to, or maybe I'll write it and maybe see if someone else wants to direct it. So, or maybe I'll just give it a couple years and I'll come back. So I don't know.
Okay, so another cliffhanger. You do love your post-credit scenes, which I do appreciate.
I do. It gets people to stay because I always tell people when they come to the premieres that you have to sit through the credits.
Well, Marvel has conditioned us to do that. Right. If anyone has watched Marvel movies, you're conditioned to stick around to see the thing, whatever it is. And so now I feel like you did a good job ripping that off. Love it. That's a good thing to rip off. And I don't think they'll be mad.
No, I mean, my credits aren't nearly as long. I don't have nearly as many cast and crew as Marvel does. My credits are usually like 3 minutes long, but it's like I want people to stay and respect the people who made the movie.
Yes.
So that's a big reason why I do it.
I want to see all the names. I want to see all the equipment you use. Like, oh, how did they do this? Wow, that's great. Awesome. So I love that you include all the stuff and it doesn't zoom by on a tiny print that I can't read. So thank you for that. All right, no Ian, problem. This was fantastic. You don't even need to pay me a consulting fee for the sitcom idea. You can,
okay, good.
That's free. Yeah, that's for free.
Yeah, because I'm poor right now.
Yeah, all right. That's no problem. No problem. But if someone's listening to the radio in the car or listening to a podcast, I'll do that for you. Does that sound fun? That sound fair? Yeah, I'll do that. Movingforwardfilms.com, right? Did I get that right? I actually did not write that down. So great. I remembered that, but not the things that I actually wrote down. Great. We're doing great. Great job, Pat. Way to go. Christ. Movingforwardfilms.com for more. There's a lot on there and more coming. And I'm very excited to see Final Boy. I'm very excited for reclamation of I'm too dumb for this. Reclamation of the Gray family, where they're all going to get murdered at the end. So,
By the
I thought we weren't talking about that.
Oh, yeah, my fault.
I'll cut that out. I'm going to cut that out. But I have one more question. But thanks for the time, man. This was fantastic. Again, movingforwardfilms.com for more. Ian, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.
All right, you are not off the hook.
Yes,
I have one more question. I ask this of every guest, and I do judge you based on your answer. So think carefully.
Okay.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's not a traditional sandwich, but yes, I'm going to say it's a sandwich.
Okay, well, now I got to go throw out Finding You, and I'm going to get my money back from Vimeo for American Hate Crime. It's the wrong answer. I'm sorry. That's the wrong... It's the wrong answer.
I'm thinking it's meat between a bread. So if you go by that description, but
come on, work it out. People usually work it out themselves.
Yeah. If you go by bread and meat in between, and you throw mustard, ketchup, relish, whatever you put in there, it's like a sandwich. But that's why I said it's not a traditional sandwich.
Okay.
But hey, all right, now look at this. All right, so for dinner, I will make sausage sandwiches, which is very similar to a hot dog. And to me, that's a sandwich. I'm ordering, it's a sausage or kibasi or something on a roll, and I call it a sandwich.
See, people do this to me all the time.
You're going to invite me back.
They do this to me all the time. When I ask this question, they say, "Oh, what about this? What about this?" I had nothing to do with that. When you order a hot dog, how does it come? You go to a baseball game or wherever you get your hot dogs. How do you get that hot dog?
Usually some piece of tinfoil that's been in there for about 4 or 5 days probably, and then thrown right back at you.
Yep, that's right. It's the hot dog in the bun, right?
Yeah.
So the whole thing is the hot dog. The hinge, so you have one piece of bread, right? So a sandwich, generally, 2 pieces of bread, right? The hot dog bun got a hinge. The hinge of the bun makes the hot dog its own category or puts it in a North American taco classification.
I've actually heard that taco conversation before on a radio somewhere months ago.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking.
It might have been this show.
It could have been. Because sometimes when I listen to like podcasts or radio, I don't even know how I find half of them. I usually just tune something like, okay, this sounds interesting or this sounds fun. And just someone's like, is taco a sandwich? I'm like, I'm intrigued by this.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So have I gotten you to change your ways, or do you still think a hot dog's a sandwich?
First of all, it's very easy to change my mind. If you throw some good facts at me, now again, would I classify it as a sandwich? No. But if you go by, again, bread and meat in between, I guess I could see where. All right, let me wheel myself back.
Let's do it.
I personally do not consider it a sandwich, but I can see why other people would.
Okay.
How about that?
All right. So let me ask you again. This is your personal. This is your. However you get to the answer, it's your answer. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I would not classify it as a sandwich.
We did it! Yeah. All right.
You changed my views.
That was easy. That was like 2 minutes, man. It's pretty good.
See that, and that's what I do. I got so many people to open up their minds with Gavin Gray. Now you got to open my mind about hot dogs.
It's great. There you go. I love it. Oh, I love it. See, I told you you'd find your way back to the right answer.
Now you won't throw away the DVDs anymore, right?
No, they're still going to be up there. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We still got to finish them, so I can't throw them away yet. I'm not going to throw them away. Don't worry.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Thanks for doing this.
I only made 25 DVDs because DVDs are not a big sell anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it's all digital.
They're not making a comeback like vinyl records?
Give it 10, 20 years, maybe they will. But as of right now, no, DVDs are not a big sale.
Wow.
So it's all digital.
Buy DVDs, people. Keep them forever.
That's how I do. Because every time my husband says we want to watch a movie we can't find on a streaming service, I go, oh, thank God it's downstairs in the basement.
Yeah, see that? Buy DVDs and hot dogs are not sandwiches. We
There
did
you
it.
go.
We did it.
Two important facts for today.
Perfect. Thanks, buddy.